Welcome to Els of Life Show, where the only Els we catch are light, love, and laughter. We believe in the power of a positive perspective, peace, and purpose. I am Tola Ayodeji, community, and thank you for joining me today. Today, I have with me Elan Sueret. It's a new serial entrepreneur, business strategist, and the founder of Elephant Exchange. And it's a premier business funding brokerage. She's based in Dallas with roots in Atlanta. Elan is known for helping small business owners and creatives to unlock major capital, building strong credit profiles, and scale their ventures. She comes with a reputation for delivering results and a passion for financial empowerment. Elan, thank you so much for joining me here today and to be here to share your passion about closing wealth gap.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
And I was checking one of your posts the other day, and I see that you basically have a mission. It appears to be that you want to take it one funding at a time to just close this gap in the wealth.
Absolutely. Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So how did you get into this? How did you become the person that's about to help me help a few people get their business up to where they want it to be?
Um, I think I came into this just kind of always being in the entrepreneurial space, always dealing in the kind of like hustle culture type um business model where, I would either flipping houses or, brokering car deals or um one time I was even selling like clothing and accessories and whatnot. So I've always been in the entrepreneurial space. But I really started off in the real estate space. And if you remember correctly, 2008 there was a financial crisis around the globe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so my portfolio got stuck up in that, and I ended up losing my portfolio. And so that led me into a rabbit hole down like one, how to just basically have a cash flowing asset, and also basically to have a recession proof business, one that won't get caught up in the madness that goes on around the country sometimes, um, or manipulation of markets you can see sometimes. And then that it really just taught me a lot. And so I got into this basically because I lost everything. And I studied credit and I studied funding, and I learned that people of color are at a disadvantage when it comes to the knowledge. And it became important to me, one, for my family, but two, for others that look like me as well.
Right, right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for bringing that to my space, and hopefully, we'll be learning a lot from you today because I, for one, would like to learn how can we achieve getting funding. It looks too good to be true sometimes when you're seeing people saying, I can get you funded as long as you have this and you have that. Okay, you just need to do this and do that, and boom, you got the funding. Sometimes it just doesn't sound, it doesn't sound like it's gonna happen just like that. So I'm glad we have you here today to walk us through how this happened. So I want to know because this episode is about financial planning and strategizing. So I believe in strategy. I believe in planning. Things will not always work the exact way that you think it will, but you've got to have a plan. You can't say it didn't work. What didn't work? What did you try to do? So I believe that you need to have a plan, which is why I wanted to have an episode on encouraging to be strategic. A lot of people see strategy as, conniving. They equate it to conniving. No, strategy is good. It's necessary. It's positive. It's not on the negative side. It's a good thing to have a plan. Now, when your plan doesn't work, you pivot or God's master plan comes into play. I love making plans, but keeping in mind that God's master plan is the plan, right? So I always leave room for God to come in and sway me where I need to be. But you can't just sit on your hands. You've got to have a plan. So I want to know, because I'm trying to link, my my desire and my strong foundation and the need to always plan. I want to link that to help people on financial literacy. So, what's your definition of financial literacy? How does it go beyond just knowing numbers for you in your experience?
Well, honestly, it's more about learning how to work in our system, right? How money moves or how the credit system works. And it's really about positioning yourself. And if you're in business, positioning your business to be in front of knowing these things, right? So
Yeah.
it's really about strategy, access, and application, to be honest. Like when you know how to do something like leverage credit, which is basically using other people's money, right? You get the opportunity to protect your assets and, create systems that can keep you in control, keep your business in control. But financial literacy is like a cheat code, right? Um, it
Right.
turns it turns income like into wealth, and turns struggle into stability, right? So it's really about just inquiring, knowing, strategizing, having that access, and applying that information.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you said that it's about access and application. Because once you gain access, once you gain knowledge, but then you don't apply it, then it never becomes wisdom and you never use it really. So when you said that, it makes me think of this saying, basically a definition. The definition of wisdom is that knowledge, applied knowledge is wisdom. How do we apply this? How does this really work with you? Or let me ask this. In your experience, why is financial literacy so critical as an early stage planning for startups, small businesses, what have you? Why is it so critical to start in an early stage?
Honestly, if you're not planning anything in your life, you're planning to fail, right? So if you're not planning for the things that happen in your life, and specifically if you're in business, if you're not planning for making money, that's what you're in business for, to make money. If you're not planning to make money, you are definitely planning for your business's downfall, 1000%. That's just a no, right? So financial literacy at the startup stage, it helps you to avoid traps and whatnot, right? So you could be spending money and spending money and spending money without a plan, or without knowing where you're supposed to put this money or what you should be doing with this money. You can eat through your cash reserves very easily, right? You can end up
Yeah,
in debt, right? So learning financial literacy as a startup, knowing financial literacy as a startup helps you avoid pitfalls, helps you
yeah,
avoid making a lot of mistakes, right? Um, and it helps you very early on in business so that when you're, a year, two, three, four down the road, you're not making some of these mistakes down there. You've already made them, or you learn from someone who made them already, like a mentor, right? And you learn from them and you don't make the mistake at all. because you learn from them. They tell you to teach you what to do, right? But you get to know your KPIs. You get to deal with certain analytics and whatnot just by knowing financial literacy at the startup stage.
Awesome, awesome. You know, they say failure to plan is planning to fail. And that's exactly
Agreed.
what you just described. And like I said, I always believe in planning, which is why I wanted to bring that up. I wanted, you know, a professional like you to help me help people to realize planning is a good thing. It is good
Oh
to
yeah.
have a strategy. So the earlier the better. So it's critical to get into it in the early stage. Maybe we'll use me as a guinea pig, right? Maybe we'll let my viewers watch you help me with something I'm thinking about doing, and then we can use that. They can see.
Indeed, indeed.
So tell us, what do we need, right? If we're going to use me as a guinea pig now, if I were to go ahead and, you know, go full force into something I'm thinking about doing, how does it start? If I were to work with you right now, how do we get started? How does this work?
So we're very hands-on and interactive here. We call our service white glove, meaning you sit back, relax, and do nothing while we do everything for you, right? Um, but no, there are things for you to do, of course. But it's a simple process. We pre-qualify you first, right? So we make sure that you are set up in your personal credit profile before we ever make a move on trying to get you any funding. Then we also do a business audit on your business. We make sure your business NAIC code is not in a risky industry. We make sure that your addresses on your businesses match all across the board. You know, your emails and things of that nature. We're making sure that you don't get a no when we go to get you some funding, right? So we make sure your business is all set up correctly. Once we do that, then we come up with a strategy for provided you qualify, right? We come up with a strategy for your funding process and your funding sequences. And then we began to, once you agree to it, we began to work the sequence one bureau at a time and acquire your funding for you. Or
All right.
are you just, you may have to answer a couple calls or emails, but other than that, you don't have to do much of anything.
Okay. So your business does need to be up and running. It can't be like your first week or you just had a thought.
So if you did just have a thought, that's okay. But we have to get you an entity in order to get you any funding. So
Right.
with that being said, we could get you an H corporation if you just had an idea that you needed to put in place. We could get you what you call an H corporation or a shelf corporation, which is a corporation that sits for some time and it gains what you call seasoning. Seasoning in the business is the length of time that the business has been in existence, and
Okay.
usually banks like to see at least 24 months. Um, but to get the top tier funding, right? If you're just looking for a little bit of funding, you may be able to get something on your business at 6 months or a year. But if you're going for top tier funding, I mean, we can fund all the way up to 5 million bucks. But if you're going for top tier funding, you definitely need to be in business for a little bit of time.
Okay, all right, good to know. Um, Now you said a little bit of time. I want people to be clear on how much time. Would you give us a range of what usually looks good?
24 months is best. So 24
Okay,
months in business and at least 24 months of personal credit history. So if you
okay,
less than 24 months of personal credit history, we have found it to be quite challenging to get funding for you because you have what you call a thin credit profile. Thin credit profiles is just similar to having either bad credit or no credit, unfortunately.
wow,
You're subjected to high interest rates. You're subjected to denials and declines just because you don't have enough credit, right? You might have the score and then you don't have enough trade lines posting for
yeah,
someone to want to take a chance, right? So those things we find to be challenging. So 24 months in business and 24 months in your credit profile. Now, could you get away with less? You could get away with less. It could be more challenging, but you could get away with less. But what the bank would prefer, what we would prefer, is 24 months.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so going into preferences and trying to do it the right way and what works, what could be challenging. Can you tell us some common mistakes that you've seen entrepreneurs or creatives do or make when they skip the financial planning part of their strategy?
Oh yeah. The worst thing is go out of business. So the Small Business Association here said that 70% of businesses fail due to lack of capital, right? So not having access to or planning to have access to capital, you and commend I commend those who go by the bootstraps and save up their money and spend the money. But why
Yeah,
spend your money? Why spend your money when you can save up that money, hold that money in an interest bearing account and then go borrow the money. You still have your money. Go borrow the money from the SBA or Chase or Wells Fargo or whoever will give you the money. You use their money. You still have your money, right? So I'm all about the OPM for sure. Definitely about OPM, but we want to make sure that folks are taking advantage of that of OPM and that just kind of something that I like to preach as well.
okay, well, I don't blame you. I mean, you see what works, you experience what works, you lost everything and you started to build. You had to start from the scratch again and
Yeah.
started to back up and you saw what works for you. And it worked to the point that you feel confident enough to go into helping others. And now you're so experienced to the point that you're doing this as a business full term. And I mean, this is amazing. This is emulating. I'm so happy to have you here. It's good
Thank
to
you. I'm
hear
so
you.
happy to be here.
Yes, it's good to hear you speak with such passion about what you've been seeing work. Okay, so another thing that I want us to explore,
Well,
those that are watching, listening, how do we simplify financial literacy so that it becomes empowering rather than overwhelming? Because we're not all good with numbers. We're not all, some people don't even like planning at all. They think they should just wing everything. Life should just be, come and go, but they still want to make money. They still want to do business. And we're trying to sway them into, hey, it's good to plan, but it doesn't come natural to them. So how do we simplify financial literacy so that it becomes empowering rather than overwhelming?
so I think we have, as a culture, has been one of hush hush, don't talk about money, don't talk about money, right? And honestly, I think that hush hush might have been something that um, people in power would want to do around others so that they keep the information.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I what I think is we have to actually talk about the money, right? We need to be having conversations about, and especially in cultures where people are brown and black, because we're not having enough positive conversations, especially with our youth, about money and financial planning, financial literacy, wealth building, things of that nature. There's not enough conversations being had with our children. There's not enough conversations being had with our peers. And so having those conversations without making people feel some type of way, having those types of conversations where we breaking it down and making it part of the culture, where we breaking it down and it sounds plain and simple, not really, making it complicated because it's really just not that complicated, honestly. Once we have these conversations and have these conversations like we're just talking to our aunt and uncle or our mom and dad versus,
Mm.
always trying to be so eloquent and to be so politically correct. In our culture, is not necessarily the best way to be. Just bringing it straight is the best way to be. So, uh, to simplify it, I know I said a mouthful. To simplify it, I think we just need to break it down into regular jargon. We just need
Yes.
to have these conversations w- like we're having conversations about basketball games
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
going to the mall or to the club or whatever. We love to have those conversations, but we can have these same type of conversations doing some of the fun things that we do in life, partying or shopping or golfing or basketball. We can still have these conversations amongst our peers and with our young as well, just doing the regular things that we normally do.
Yeah, let's make it a regular conversation. Let's make it uh dinner table conversation, girls' night conversation, boys' night conversation. Yes, I agree. I agree. So would you give us an example of how you, or rather, an example of how financial literacy directly influenced a strategic move for a client or business that you've worked with? We've heard a little bit about how you had to pick yourself up and spin things around for yourself. Now, take us into what you've done for a client, a business. Would you give us an example of that?
Yes, exactly. So I had a female client. She was trying to fund a new business, right? A location that she was getting, but she kept getting denied on her own. So she ended up finding me somehow, probably through Instagram ads. I do a lot of those or whatnot. But we did a deep dive and realized her personal credit was really strong, right? But her business wasn't structured properly. We talked about that before too, about having your business structured properly. She didn't have a business bank account. She didn't have a business credit file. Like we just had to fix a few things for her so that we could build her business profile up. And within about 60 days or so, we were able to get her approved for 100K with some really great rates as well. And that move, didn't just save her business. It kind of like leveled her up a little bit because, she was focused on doing this again and again and again. Like, oh man, I can't believe I missed out on opportunities because I didn't have these things in place, right? So I love this part of my job too. Is doing these analysis and these audits on people's businesses so that I can help them get them right. Because once it's right, the bank, unless you're over leveraged financially, the bank can't tell you no.
Wow. And so what was their success like? Like what would you consider to be the great results that came out of that?
Her receiving 100K in funding was the greatest result. Her realizing and having that aha moment, like I've been missing out on opportunities because I didn't have my business structured properly. I knew that I
Yeah.
had good credit, but I didn't realize, again, about hustle culture. I didn't realize that, me just going out selling my pies and my t-shirts without having an EIN or a business bank account was going to hinder me from getting funding in the future. I didn't realize that even though my business was making money, I didn't know that, right? So her being able to have that aha moment, her being able to actually receive the funding in itself, and then her being excited to want to, keep her business and her credit together so that she can continue to go to the well because it can be an limitless or unlimited amounts of funding available to you if you keep your paperwork straight and your credit straight.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of people are gonna need to work on that. The paperwork, a lot of people shy away from the work that needs to be done. So that paperwork gotta be straight and credit gotta be straight. We gotta work on that. So if someone needs to work on their credit, on their paperwork, Do they need to go figure that out before they come to you, or do you have something in place or?
No, we're a one-stop shop, so we can do
Okay.
everything from business formation. We have age corporations available. If you don't want to wait the time to season your own business, we can sell you an age corporation and help you build that up so that you can go get maximum amounts of funding. We help you with credit restoration. So if you have issues with your credit and you have remarks, derogatories, or anything like that, we can help you remove them. If you need authorized users or primary accounts, we have those available as well to help you build your business and personal credit profile quickly. We do personal mentorship. So if you are a business owner who wants to just kind of learn what I do, to do it for yourself, I'm the best person to teach you, right? Mentorship, we have everything, whatever you need, and then all the way down to the white glove service, like I said, where we just go through and get the funding for you. So we can walk you through it, we can get it for you, we can help you with whatever it is that you need. You don't have to go anywhere. We're a one-stop shop.
Awesome. So with this movement, with what you do and what we're pretty much preaching to people to get into, what change do you envision in our community development if more people embraced financial literacy earlier on?
I feel like if we normalize financial literacy, we close the wealth gap, right? Um, I imagine, communities where everyone understands credit at the very least, the system that we use in America. It's a credit system, right? Not a barter system, no other type of system, credit, right? So
Yeah.
if everyone understood, if everyone in our communities, I mean, I'm really focused on communities that look like mine, if we start to really understand the credit game and just know something, I'm about to say, finish off what I was going to say, but just also know this: the more that we start to know the game, the more that the powers that be change the game, right? So it's also about keeping your ear to the ground on learning and staying and learning about credit. So you can't just say I learned credit 2 years ago, because just like technology, stuff changes just like that. So what used to be okay or what used to be a situation might not be a situation in a year or two. So always knowing and understanding and keeping your pulse on credit, home ownership or land ownership as well, and then how to play the game of funding. So how to structure your business, your entity, how to structure your credit, and then how many different businesses do I need to reach my goal? I might want 1 million in funding. Each entity, at the very least, is worth 250K. So if you
Hmm.
have a business, let's just say my business, is it's Elephant Exchange LLC, right? Elephant Exchange LLC at the very least. I'm gonna, I've been funding it way more than that, but at the very least is worth 250K. I have another business, it's a salon. That's at the very least is 250K. That's 500K for me, right? Learning how to work this game will put you in the best possible position to fund your financial success. You literally can walk into it because it's being given to you.
Awesome. I mean, you said it. We've got to be adaptable. We can just say we learned it and that's it. Things change. Life is all about change. We talked about this in season one. Uh, Life is change. You can't be fighting change. Change will happen anyways. So yes, things are always changing. So you have to be adaptable. You can't just say you've learned and then boom, that's it. You've got to keep learning. We have to always be open to knowledge and then use that knowledge. That's the other thing that I take away from this. We have to learn. We have to be adaptable. We have to use what we're learning, turn it into wisdom, and make sure that we're actually getting results and getting success from all these things that are available and around us. And, people like us, usually we're not, we don't we don't talk about these things. We don't make this, a regular normal conversation. We have to make it normal. We have to make it regular. We have to plan, follow the plan. If there's a reason to, move, we move. We're adaptable. So I want you to tell me anything else in my weird recap that I just did just now. Anything else that you want us to remember when we think of you and we think about this episode and we're thinking about strategizing and planning and financial literacy? What else would you like to add that we need to keep in mind? What's the takeaway from this?
Don't be mediocre. What I mean is everybody might be going, we all going through something we don't know each person is going through, right? But we all have 24 hours a day, just like the next person, right? And it's what you do with it, is what determines your future, right? What you
Yeah.
do with each 24 hours of the day. So in those 24 hours, don't be mediocre. Be above average. Go out, write your dreams down, and go execute your dreams. And if you
Okay.
need help, look for people like me, right? You know, I give out a lot of free game. There's people out there that's giving out free game, and YouTube is literally a university for free 99. So if you need something, go search for it. Don't be afraid to search for it because the lack of knowledge is what's keeping you in the space that you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
And I talk about financials and financial literacy and wealth building. So the lack of financial knowledge and literacy is what's keeping you broke and poor. And it is literally once your mind opens up, everything changes for you. So don't be
Yeah.
mediocre.
Okay. Like you guys heard it. Let's not be mediocre. Okay. So let me do a quick rapid question with you. Will you indulge me before you leave,
Ooh,
before I let you go? Okay, okay, okay. Just a few, just a few. Okay. What's a tradition that needs to end? I know we've talked about the money part, but what's a tradition? Doesn't have to be about money, doesn't have to be financial, whatever. It could be too. What's a tradition that comes to your mind that you feel like that's gotta go?
it's controversial, so I don't want to say. To be honest, alcohol, that's a tradition we could get rid of. Drinking liquor,
Oh, you say so.
get rid of
It
it.
is so.
It's
Okay.
so bad. I like it though, but it's so bad.
It is. People overdo stuff. They need to stop overdoing. Okay. So what's a money quote? Like when you think about money, what's a saying or what's a quote on money that you could drop?
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar, dollar
Okay.
bill, y'all.
Okay. True. It's true. And
I
I'm glad.
mean, that's what came to mind.
Yes, I'm glad you were open and honest with that because I did want the first thing that came to your mind. Yes, let's go. Okay, last but not the least, I like to ask, what would I find in your mug, tea or coffee?
Usually tea, yes. Green tea, mostly. As of late, coffee though. Decaf though, with coffee.
Yeah, I actually drink caffeinated coffee. I love coffee, but obviously, as you can tell from my nickname Tea, I love tea. But sometimes I
Yes,
drink,
tea's the best.
yeah,
I love tea, so
yeah, I really
I
love
used to
green
be
tea,
a
all kinds of
tea
tea.
connoisseur, seriously.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, we can connect on that level because
Yes,
I
for
love
sure.
tea so much that it's my nickname.
Okay, yeah, we can talk. We can talk about like tea leaves and like where they grow and what they taste like and how they should be prepared and what temperature. Like I used to be a nerd about that stuff.
Awesome. I love brewing tea. I
Yeah,
love tea. I love my leaves. I love my herbs, period.
okay.
Yes, yes. I try to stay on the natural, organic side. Yeah. So I'm all about living this life and hopefully, long and healthy,
I'm
Yeah.
sure, absolutely. You look very well, so I'm sure that you're
You as
doing the
well.
right things.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much. Thank you. You look well. That is the
thank
word.
you.
You look healthy. So
Appreciate
right
that.
back at you.
Appreciate that.
Right back at you. Okay. So how can people find you? How can my listeners find you? Different ways, platforms you're on. Drop it on us, please.
Yes, I am on Instagram as Elefin, ELEFIN_funding. And I'm on TikTok at Elefin Funding, ELEFIN Funding. And I'm also on LinkedIn as Elefin Exchange. And I think that's the only platforms that I'm on currently. I don't have a YouTube just yet, not for this business, but I'm working on that.
Okay, okay, all right. Well, we'll connect with you and we'll be updated when you do have a YouTube. Thank you so, so very much for joining us. I really appreciate you. It was lovely having this conversation with you, and I really hope that you can help people through me at some point, hopefully soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you to you and your audience. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you reaching out. I'm always looking to share this knowledge with any and everybody. So I'm glad that we could get this information out and share it. And kudos to you though. You're the best. And I look
Thank
forward
you.
to the episode. Yeah.
Yay, thank you. Mwah. I appreciate you. If today's conversation spoke to you, please share, subscribe, and reflect. Remember, even when the clouds seem so heavy, light will always find a way. There is always an opportunity to shed light around you, spread love with those that are with you, and share laughter with those that are by you. Ciao.